talking about adding and subtracting fractions. So right here I have one rectangle, which we're going to call one whole. And I want you to think of this whole as a number line. So if this were a number line, what number would go at the beginning here? It would be a 0. What number would go at the end of the number line? It would be a 1. Now I'm going to place a second whole on the board. What number would go at the end of this number line? Think about it as how many holes do I have? 0 holes, 1 hole, this would be 2 holes. I want you to look at this point on the fraction strip. What is the distance from 0 to this point? The distance is 1/2. What is the distance from the half mark to this point? From here to here, what is the distance? It is also 1/2. What is the distance from 0 to 1? 0 to this point, what is the distance? This distance is 2/2. To get from here to here, we're moving 1/2 plus 1 more half to make 2 halves, or as we call it, 1 whole. What is the distance from 1 to the next half mark on our second whole? From 1 to here, what is the distance? This distance would also be 1/2. What is the distance from 0 to here? So we have 0, 1/2, 2 halves. This distance would be 3 halves. What is the distance from 3 halves to 2? It is again 1/2. What is the distance from 0 to 2? From 0 to this point, what is the distance? 1/2, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves. Next, I want you to think about another way we could say 3 halves. If we know that this is 1 whole and this is 1 whole, 3 halves is right here at this point. So another way that we could say 3 halves is 1 whole and 1/2. 1 whole, 1/2. And we write that just like this. This is called a mixed number. 1 whole and 1/2 is the same as 3 halves. The final thing I want you to think about is what our numerators and our denominators are doing when we're adding these fractions. So we know already that our top number is called the numerator and our bottom number is called the denominator. So notice when we add fractions, what is happening with our numerator and what's happening with the denominator. For example, if I am adding 1/2 plus 1/2, I'm going to add my numerators, 1 and 1. 1 plus 1, we know, is 2. So 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2/2. So we add our numerator, that's this top number here, so that's going to be 2. But if you notice, our denominator is not changing. We're still going to keep this 2 because it represents halves. So we don't add 2 plus 2 to get 4 because we're not working with fourths. We're going to keep it as 2 because that 2 represents that we have 2 halves. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 2 halves. So notice when we add fractions, we're adding the numerator, but our denominator is going to stay the same.